A's of tourism. Can you tell me what are the 5 A's of tourism?
Accessibility,
Accessibility,
attractions, yeah, amenities,
amenities,
and awareness.
sorry,
Awareness
awareness. 2 more,
and accommodation.
accommodation, 1 more,
We said
Communication.
accommodation,
activity.
activities.
You've
Yeah.
got to have a mixture of all of these. So I'm going to be brave and try and share the screen again. All right, just tell me when you can see the screen.
Perfect. We can see it.
Right. Okay, I speak English, so sometimes when you look at these things, you might get the red underline for spelling, like organizations. I spell it with an S, not a Z, because I speak English, not Americanish. So anyway, regional international tourism organizations. Now, obviously, the main one for us is IATA. They are the governing body for international airlines. Basically, they were founded in 1929. So that shows you how long air transport has been a major business. 1929. They have a vision and mission, which basically you don't need to know. Basically, their vision is promote airlines, promote the interests of airlines, not the passengers, the airlines. They want to serve the travel industry. Now, when we get to tourism, we have things like the WTO, or officially UNWTO, United Nations World Tourism Organization. They're responsible to the United Nations and therefore the world for sustainable and accessible tourism. Okay, do you remember we talked about sustainable tourism? Actually, we called it a different thing. Green tourism, eco-tourism. It's all the same thing. Sustainable tourism, eco-tourism, and green tourism is all the same thing. It means to promote tourism with low impact to the culture and the environment of where you're promoting it. That's enough, okay? So if you remember, WTO is the World Tourism Organization, you're doing well. Not so important for us here is the European Tourist Association. Basically, they are there to promote European tourism. That's why it's European. There's lots of regional organizations. So we have like a national organization and regional. For instance, in the UK, they have the Association of British Travel Agents. Their job, look after British travel agents. But they are also members of the European Tourism Association, or they used to be, okay?
Peter, I have a question.
Yeah.
The O stands for what there? ETOA.
Ah, it's in French. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is
Right.
the initials of the French spelling of it. Good point. Okay. It is, I don't know the French, European Tourisme Organisation de
Okay.
whatever. Okay. But ETOA. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Sustainable tourism. Here's the key thing: low impact on the environment and culture of where you're creating the tourism. It should generate employment for local people. Okay, that's the main thing, local people, which, sorry, someone's just sent me a chat, which most people, I think you'd agree that's a good thing. We were talking a couple of sessions ago about taking foreign tourists to Bahraini households for dinner and so on. That generates money for tourism and it helps local people. Plus, it's a good thing because tourists, when they're on holiday, they want to see something of the country, not just, you know, shopping malls.
Yeah.
What are the bad things about tourism? Well, there are a few things. GHG, greenhouse gas emissions, okay? When we use road transport, rail transport, aeroplanes, and so on, it gives off carbon or carbon dioxide, which is dangerous for the environment. But actually, aeroplanes now are more environmentally friendly than they were in the 1970s. They use lighter materials. That means you use less fuel. Yeah? They have more efficient engines, which push out less carbon dioxide. But although this is not a big thing here in the Gulf yet, it will be. But in Europe, when you plan your holiday, you can actually check how much will be your carbon footprint. Your carbon footprint is how much carbon are you as an individual generating when you go on this holiday. Okay, so environmental tourism, sustainable tourism, green tourism, yeah, it's all okay. I've just had a message. I did send it in the group. We're apparently going to be in a newspaper or on the news. I'm not sure which one it is. So they've asked me to do a screenshot, you know, when we're not sharing something, and have as many people in the screenshot to show, you know, how you can conduct classes online. So maybe in about 5-10 minutes, we'll try that, okay? Don't do it, get especially ready for it. It's supposed to look natural. Right. Other things where tourism can cause a negative impact. Water consumption. In Bahrain, we're used to turning on a tap and we get water. And that water is clean water. Yeah. You can drink it. I do. Yeah. I cook with it.
Yeah.
It's perfectly acceptable. It doesn't just mean, sorry?
The water here?
Yeah.
No. You should not drink the water here from the tap.
Why?
No, there's nothing wrong with the water in the tap.
It doesn't.
Really?
We're just not used to drinking it. But
Yeah.
I mean, in old days we used to drink it, even though it was salty and not of this, quality. But actually, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
We're
it's
just
normally
not
with it also.
Yeah, we're just not using it because we are now so used to
Yeah.
buying water.
But I mean, in terms of safety, it doesn't just meet World Health Organization standards. It's way above, way above. And also, you have to remember, I've lived in India. You know, you do not use tap water in India for anything except
Nothing.
nothing.
I used to travel every 3 months to India, and I was like, thank God I'm in Bahrain.
Yes, exactly. I think this is one good thing. When you travel, you really appreciate home sometimes, you know? Where I lived in India,
Fine.
if you took a bucket of water, you would leave it overnight. In the morning, at the bottom, you'd have this oily, sludgy stuff. At the top, you know, when you mix at a garage when it's
Oil,
raining,
yeah,
you've got that
oil with
like
water.
rainbow in the water. That's on the top.
Yeah.
That's the water that people drink over there. So for me, Bahrain water is as sweet as anything. Yeah, we do pretty well. Waste management. Okay, how is waste disposed of? Now, again, in Bahrain, we have proper sewerage treatment plants. So this is why we don't get cholera and typhoid, even though we're in a hot country, because our sewerage system is efficient. You know, it keeps sewerage away from water supplies and sea and so on. Not the case in other countries. If you go to some countries, rivers in the city are like open sewers. You know, it's really bad. And people use this water for washing and cleaning. Biodiversity. Humans, we have this nasty habit of killing things. Have you ever heard of the dodo bird? D-O-D-O?
No.
You ever heard of that bird, the dodo? D-O-D-O?
No.
Okay. After today's session, Google dodo, D-O-D-O. The first Europeans, and I'm afraid I have to accept cultural responsibility on this, Europeans have not been good at protecting species. We go places and we kill everything. Nowadays we're a bit better, but the dodo was a bird in Madagascar. It didn't fly, couldn't fly. It had no enemies. So when the European sailors got there, the dodos would walk up to them because they have no enemies. They don't know why to be frightened. And of course, the European sailors just killed them and used their meat, and they wiped them out. There are no more dodo birds. In fact, in England, there's an expression, dead as a dodo, meaning it's gone. So, using too much water affects a region. Okay, remember 60%, 60% of the world's population do not have access easily to clean water, what we would consider clean water. We are the lucky 40%. We are really lucky. Waste management. This is part of infrastructure or amenities. You know, in the 5 A's of tourism, amenities. Waste management, sewerage is part of the amenities, the infrastructure of a country. If a country keeps getting cholera and typhoid because of bad water and so on and so forth, obviously it's going to have effect on their tourism industry. Unfortunately, sometimes some cultures, when they come into contact with other cultures, don't treat it with much respect. And I hate to say this, but I've seen this in Bahrain. Bahrain is a conservative society, you know, not very conservative, but conservative. And I was once in Jawad supermarket in Sanad. It is not Jawad now, it's something else. And a European lady, she obviously met, I don't know, her husband, boyfriend, something, but she gave him a big, long kiss at the front of the supermarket, arms everywhere. which is not very nice thing to do in Bahrain, you know? So unfortunately, there can be conflicts between the tourist and the local communities. They were very lucky because Bahrainis are very,
Polite.
you're very polite, very easygoing people. Even though that was not a very nice thing to do in Bahrain, nobody made a big fuss about it. They might have thought something, but they didn't do anything. So when you deal with tourism, there is this aspect to consider. And the World Tourism Organization, what they want to do is make sure that when tourism comes to a place, it's as positive as possible, meaning it's sustainable, okay? Meaning it's sustainable. If it's sustainable tourism, it means it can continue for a long time, okay? Okay? Right, and it has low impact culturally, environmentally, and for biodiversity. Right. Here is a, you know, in the PowerPoint, everything I'm telling you is in the PowerPoint so you can review it a bit later, okay? Right. Now, that's the early bits. We've lost a few people. Interesting. I think Zoom's having another bad day. I think Zoom's having a bad day because it's Sunday and everybody is using Zoom. Yeah, so many people are dropping out. We're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weird. Okay. Right, the next thing we're going to do is the time calculation. A little bit of an introduction here. Bahrain, our time zone is GMT +3, which you probably know. But what's GMT? Well, GMT is Greenwich Mean Time. And Greenwich is a small town in England where one day they sat down and worked out time zones. Okay? So these scientists in Greenwich decided, okay, we'll start counting from here. As you go east, we will increase time. As we go west, we will decrease time. There's nothing special about Greenwich except just happened to be the place where they thought about it. It doesn't have any more meaning than that. They thought about it and that's it. So whatever the time is in Greenwich, Bahrain will be +3 hours on top of that. As we go to the west of Greenwich, the time zones decrease. So New York, for instance, is GMT -4, is 4 hours behind GMT, okay? From GMT, you can go 12 hours that way and 12 hours that way. So you can go +12 and -12, and then they meet. So there's a line down the back of the world called the International Date Line, and that line is in 2 days. It's -12 and +12, both at the same time, depending on which side of the line you choose to be on. This is all man-made, okay? It's just a system we've developed. Because if you're honest, how do we know How do we know Europe is at the top of the world? Maybe the universe is the other way round and Australia's at the top. Because we don't know, we only know our tiny little bit on the planet Earth. So everything is, you know, just man-made. Unfortunately, it's the only way we can work out times. Now you might say, well, why do I need it? Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning in Bahrain. You need to call a hotel in Ghana, Africa, to make a reservation. Are they open? Well, you better work out their time zone. Yeah, because if they're behind us too much, it might be 6 o'clock in the morning there. So no point in calling. Yeah. Sabre will always give you flight durations. In other words, how long does the flight take? Tell me, have you used computers? Yeah, we're using Zoom today. Problem with my background, problem with the room. Yeah, I've got to physically click a button to let you into the room. We don't normally have to do that. The share screen doesn't work very well. So technology sometimes doesn't work. Passenger says, excuse me, how long does my flight take? And the system is down. What do you say? Oh, I don't know. The computer's not working. Oh yeah, that's something I really hate. I don't know. The system's down. Well, work it out. You've got a brain. God gave you a brain. Use it. You know? So we are going to start using our brain and not relying on the machine. We are going to be greater than the machine, not less than the machine. Okay? So you know, Sabre is wonderful. It's really good. Making reservations has never been easier. When I started in travel, you know, 50,000 years ago, planes literally had a big sheet of paper with the seat numbers written on it. And you would phone up the central reservation office, yeah, and they would literally mark on a piece of paper that that seat's booked. That's how primitive it was. It doesn't happen anymore. Chuck, 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 chuck. You booked a seat from Singapore to Sydney. Before, when I started, that would be a day's work. By the time you sent the telex, you know, or made the phone call or whatever, they check it, they check with the local office, it comes back, it will be confirmed the next day. Yeah. Now you can get instant confirmation of flights. But sometimes you have to use your brain, like itinerary planning. Okay? You can't ask Sabre to plan an itinerary. It can't do it. If it goes down, you should be able to do a simple thing like a flight calculation. Okay? Now, obviously, there are some things you can't do if the system's down. You can't book the seat, but that's acceptable. Yeah, but simple things you should be able to work out. So keep your fingers crossed. We are going to try. We're going to try and get the timetable lesson working. Sorry, the time calculation lesson working. I'm really hoping this is going to work this time. So, PowerPoint starting. Really is a Sunday thing, I think. It just doesn't like Sundays. Right, ladies, gentlemen, same again. Tell me when you can see the screen or if you can see the screen. Is it there yet?
Give it a minute. Yes, now it's there.
Okay. Yesterday, I did send you a link so you can download a PDF version of the training book. I should warn you, there may be some amendments when we get the updated version. It won't be a lot, but there might be a few things we have to change. So, it's module 2.5 in your books, and it's called World Time Zones. Here's what we have to do: 24-hour clock, international dateline, etc. Right, you've got a flight at 6, but is that 6 in the morning or 6 at night? 6 o'clock doesn't tell you anything. This is why they came up with the 24-hour clock. It's to get rid of misunderstandings. So in most of the world, in fact, if I'm honest, in the entire world, airlines use the 24-hour clock, except one country. Can you guess which country doesn't know how to work out the 24-hour clock?
The United States of America.
Well done. Don't ask me why. They can't handle it. Yeah. So tickets from the USA have 6A or 6P. Yeah, to show AM or PM. Everybody else on the planet 0600 or 1800. All right, so the key learning point is this is the definition. The use of the 24-hour clock was to eliminate confusion over AM and PM. So here's the 24-hour clock. It starts at 0 and it goes to 24. So 12 is the midday one. Okay. So 12, you would think the midday one is an AM, but it's not, it's a PM. It's the 2400 that's the 12 AM. Okay. There will always be 4 numbers, 4 numerals. So if it's 9 o'clock, it's 0900 or 0900. What do you think 2 p.m. will be?
1400.
1400.
1400. I have a feeling that most of you are going to be very familiar with the 24-hour clock.
It's what we use in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just do a couple of quick checks. Here are some 24-hour clock numbers. Could you give it to me in the AM, PM?
7:25 a.m.
7:25 a.m.
Yeah.
3:21 p.m.
5 p.m. and 7:25.
7:25 p.m.
Yeah. When in doubt, use your fingers. 12, 13, 14, 15 must be 3. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 must be 7. What? 8:30 a.m. What would that be?
0830.
08:30. 8:30 p.m. will be
2030.
20:30. And 12 a.m. the midnight one.
0000.
0000. In fact, it could be 2 answers. It could be
Could be 24.
exactly
Or 0.
2400 or 0000, depending which day you're looking at. Now, the GMT line is here. Can you see the cursor moving? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
The GMT line runs down here from GMT in the UK. And that separates the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. Hemisphere means half of a globe, half of a ball. So if you take an apple and cut it in half, you have two hemispheres, okay? East goes to the right, west goes to the left. We also have another line, imaginary line, called the equator. That separates north and south, okay? The GMT line has two different terms. It's also called UTC, Universal Time Coordinated Line, okay? I think that was made up by someone who likes Star Trek. Okay, not Star Wars, Star Trek, very different. Right, so there will be 12 time zones going this way and 12 that way. So in total, 24 time zones, okay? Because the world takes approximately 24 hours to go around once. It's actually 24 hours, 14 minutes and 47 seconds or something. That's why we have to have a leap year every 4 years to balance it up. Now, you don't have to remember which country is in what time zone. That information will always be given to you in the exam because you can't remember every country's time zone. How it's displayed often is this way. You get an alphabetical list. So it says United Arab Emirates +4 DST, daylight saving time period. Okay, first the country. The next one is the variation, the normal variation between its time and GMT. Okay, so the Emirates is GMT +4 hours. Then we have something called DST, daylight saving time. Now, as you go to the north and the south, because the world is actually tilted, it doesn't spin like this, it spins like this. It means in the summer, the days are longer, and in the winter, the days are shorter. So in the winter, when the days are shorter, you want as much of your waking time to be in sunlight. So what they do in these countries is they move the clock 1 hour forward or backward. So you get up a little bit earlier, but by the time you walk out the house, you've got a little bit of daylight. In where I came from in Germany, in the summer, it could start getting light at 5 in the morning and start getting dark at 10 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the winter, it got light at about 9 in the morning and it got dark at 2 in the afternoon. So nature balances out. If you get a lot of daylight in the summer, you get less in the winter. So daylight saving time would be listed here, what dates, and then the difference. So again, you will get this PowerPoint show so you can run through it again. This means plus, okay? Whether it's plus or minus, here it's ahead. So everything I've just told you. Here's about daylight saving time. Now, in Bahrain, you know, there is a variation, but it's not huge. As you get towards the equator, it's almost the same, day, night, maybe an hour's difference. In Singapore, we get about a 12-hour day and a 12-hour night. So changing the clocks doesn't make much difference to us. In the very far north of Europe and the very far south of the southern hemisphere, in the summer, you can get 6 weeks where there is no nighttime. The sun never sets. It just comes down, 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 and goes back up again. 6 weeks. That also means in the winter, you get 6 weeks where the sun never comes up.
Never.
Have a look at this. Here's the sun, okay? Got to wait for this. You see, the sun went down, 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 and came back up again. No nighttime. So at midnight, it's like daytime. You can go out, it looks the same. That's far north, far south. Now, here we have the United Kingdom, and that's where Greenwich is. So the normal time for the UK is GMT or UTC. It means their time is Greenwich Mean Time, except between the 27th
They
of,
have
between the,
daytime.
sorry?
Sorry.
Okay. Between the 27th of March and the 30th of October, they use daylight saving time. And daylight saving time is +1. Tell me, if I'm looking for the month of January, is that in the daylight saving time period, January?
No.
No.
Right, it
No.
would be the standard time, GMT. If I'm looking for September, is it?
Yes.
It is,
Okay.
that would be +1, okay? So not all countries use daylight saving time. Some do, some don't, okay? So the UK uses daylight saving time. It uses it from this period to that period. And here are the questions I've just asked you. Now, there are some very big countries in the world that stretch east to west. They stretch across the world. One of them, of course, is Russia, the USA, Canada, and Australia. Australia has different time zones. Now, it can be displayed in two different ways. Sometimes they put Australia and the DST time, and they put nothing here. Sometimes they put it next to everything. Okay? Australia, Western Australia, okay? Their normal clock time is +8. In Western Australia, do they use DST?
No.
No, there's no time there, so they don't use it. Northern Territory, do they use daylight saving time?
No.
Nope.
No. South Australia,
Yes.
yes. And
0.3.
yeah, 10 hours and 30 minutes. It's their country. They can make their time zones anything they like. Several countries use 30 minutes. For instance, India is GMT plus 5 hours and 30 minutes. It's their country. They can set their own time zones. Capital Territory in Australia, straightforward, 11 hours. So that means between West Australia and Capital Territory, they don't use the same time. In Russia, which is a really long country, east to west, when you watch the 8 o'clock morning news in Moscow, it's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the other side. Yeah, because it's so long. Countries that stretch east to west can have multiple time zones. Chile. Chile is a very long country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But that stretches north to south, not east to west. So Chile, although it's a long country, only has one time zone because it doesn't stretch east to west. Okay? So for a country to have more than one time zone, it stretches east to west, not north to south. Okay, and again, an explanation when you do this for yourself at home. Right, let's do a little bit of work. Gabon. Can anyone tell me what part of the world is Gabon in?
Africa.
Africa. Now, if I may make a suggestion, although this lesson is on time calculations, what you could do is say, I don't know where Gabon is. After I've done the lesson, let me look up Gabon, find out where it is. Is it West Africa, East Africa, North, South? Get an idea. Might stick in your head. What about Ghana? Where is Ghana?
Africa.
Africa.
That's Africa.
West Africa.
West Africa. Do you know the capital? Starts
Nairobi.
huh?
No.
AC, double C.
Accra.
Accra, well done.
Accra, yes.
Ghana.
Yes.
Okay. Guadeloupe. Don't worry too much about Guadeloupe. It's a small island country. They are never in your exam going to ask you to find this on a map. Guatemala. Where's Guatemala?
Central America.
Central
Central
America.
America.
And the capital city is
Guatemala City.
Guatemala
no.
City. So we're going to find out these countries. What's the difference between these countries and GMT? So start with Gabon. What is the difference between Gabon time and GMT?
+1.
+1.
Yeah, Gabon +1, done, finished. Okay. Ghana.
Same
0.
time.
GMT.
Yeah,
GMT.
okay. So it's +1, Ghana, GMT, it's GMT, or 0 difference. Guadeloupe is here,
-4.
That's 4.
-4, right, that's your answer. Guatemala is here,
-6.
-6, that's your answer. So the chart is not that difficult to use. Very often in the exam, they will tell you, your passenger is Gabon, GMT +1. They'll already tell you. Yeah, sometimes they'll make you work it out. Okay, we've got dates now. Albania. Anyone know where that is?
Europe.
Eastern Europe.
Europe. It's opposite of Italy. You find Italy, water, right-hand side, you've got Albania. Now Albania has a +1 and a +2. The date is the 20th of August. So tell me, when do they use daylight
Plus two.
saving time?
+2.
It will,
From 27th of March to October.
Right, so March, April, May, June, July, August, it's definitely going to be DST.
Plus,
So the difference will be
2.
+2.
+2.
+2, okay?
Yeah.
Next one, Andorra. Tiny little country up in the Pyrenean Alps between France and Spain. Okay, let's have a look at that. And again, they do use daylight saving time, but do they use
+1.
daylight saving time on the 30th of December?
no.
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 No, so it would be
It would be +1.
+1.
+1. Yeah, it would be +1. Armenia, I don't care how you pronounce it. So we have Armenia. Do they use daylight saving time?
Yes.
they-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
+5.
We better look
+5.
at this a bit closer. We've got +4 or +5. Now, if it's the 31st of July,
+5.
+5 is daylight saving time. And of course, when you do it at home, bottom left-hand side, you do have an explanation. So +5. Austria. What's the capital of Austria?
Vienna.
Vienna. Anyone want to guess at the 3-letter code for Vienna?
VIE.
VIEE.
VIE. Austria is one of the countries where we need to know 2 cities. The capital of Vienna, and we also need to know Innsbruck. Okay?
Innsbruck.
Innsbruck. INN. Okay? Hang on. More messages, chat.
They have very good schnitzel.
Ah, okay. The owner of Origin is coming online in a few minutes. So anyway, we'll finish this question. Austria, 30th of October, 30th of October. Do you think it's +1 or +2?
It's +2.
+2. It's this and including this date, okay?
Yeah.
So we got +2. Right. We'll stop sharing for a minute because, as I said, our owner is coming on. Now, as I put in the thing, if you don't mind, and it is optional, if when Mr. Ahmed comes on, if you don't mind putting on your camera, if you're a lady and you're at home and, you're casual at home, of course you don't have to, okay? But if you don't mind, it would be nice because he wants a picture of us doing our lesson, okay? Because
Let me share, while you are waiting, I'll just share a quick story about daylight saving.
Yeah, please.
I went to the UK with some friends to attend a wedding, and the wedding was in March. So we went to, obviously they have several parties, like 3-4 days